Are you considering stepping down as CEO? Would you transfer, be chairman, and think about being chief product officer? I mean, since CEO title doesn't matter anyway.
I changed my title to Techno King. And by the way, this is a formal SEC filing. I'm legally a formal whatever Techno King. I just did that as kind of like a joke because just to show that these titles don't mean a lot. You can see what is actually legally necessary if you fill out the form.
Guys, is this the final warning for XRP? Unbelievable. What is this form everybody's talking about? Is the crypto space in so much turmoil that it might not recover? Or will the market skyrocket 3 or 4 times its previous highs, just like we've seen in the past, once this bear market settles and the bullish trend sets in? When that happens, what does it translate to for Ripple and XRP? But before that, let's quickly take a look at some news. This one's on Twitter, it's from Blockworks. It says, Shanghai High People's Court has declared Bitcoin to be a virtual asset protected by Chinese law. And if we take a look at this article from Bitcoin.com, it titles just about the same thing. Scrolling down to the excerpt on that piece, the Shanghai High People's Court has declared Bitcoin to be a virtual asset protected by Chinese law. The court notes that the cryptocurrency has economic value. First, we saw this happen in the US, with the Biden administration launching a massive campaign and task enforcements on crypto investors, by which it aims to raise a whopping $11 billion from traders in this asset class. Then, we saw that in the UK, only a few days back, about a week ago, with the government recognizing non-fungible tokens as a property, more like digital property, hence can be taxed just like every other digital asset like stocks and cryptocurrencies. And now, Argentina and China. So guys, what does that tell you? Take a look at this. It says, IMF approves latest Argentine bailout disbursement. And if we scroll down a little bit, we find that this piece was posted on December 19th, 2018. Below that, it says, the International Monetary Fund's Executive Board approved Wednesday the release of a $7.6 billion investment on the $56 billion bailout loan agreed with crisis-hit Argentina. And just like clockwork, 4 years after, sometime in March of this year, Argentina's IMF bailout deal includes a wild clause that rips cryptocurrencies. So what does this essentially mean? If we scroll down that piece a little bit, and a little bit more, not that one, but this one right above it here. All right, there we go. It says right here, Argentina's anti-money laundering regulator, the Unidad de Información Financiera or Financial Information Unit, is taking action. As a result, working to add cryptocurrency service providers to its list of entities subject to reporting customer transactions, the Buenos Aires Times reported this week. And that is that. Before moving on, guys, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications for this channel as well. Now, moving on to Twitter, we have this one from the CEO of Ava Labs. This is how we know that the powers that be are afraid. For example, Argentina's IMF bailout deal includes a wild clause that rips cryptocurrencies. However, this particular tweet from Jason A. Williams reads, breaking, Argentina's IMF bailout deal includes a wild clause that rips cryptocurrencies, meaning IMF is using bailout cash to lever countries away from economic prosperity and keep them HFSP. Probably an excuse from the socialist, communist, Chavez-written government of today, as many of these developing countries aren't allowed to buy more than $200 or less of these digital assets per month, with such hurdles as inflated crypto taxes in some Scandinavian countries, whose tax rate for crypto goes as high as 52% annually. However, others might argue that this isn't about socialism. The United States, for instance, doesn't allow Binance to operate unless it could have its own dedicated Binance US version, under the argument that only then can the country's financial regulators wholly supervise its activities. They could argue that further, buttressing it with the Galicia Bank and Burbank marketing strategy. But then, that begs the question, what kind of government does the US have now, where financial regulators designed to protect the interest of investors are primarily the ones harming them? To be honest, all governments do have their lapses, and on that premise, we can't look at one country's advantage in one regard over another and say that's not us or will never be us. Each of these countries needs to push back and realize crypto is here to stay, And for those that think Bitcoin will simply take over the universe overnight while they sit and watch, that's not reality. People have to get active before that happens. But in the meantime, you don't want to miss out on it. So just like the US and all other countries in the American continent, Europe, and Asia, Argentina has decided to beef up its crypto regulatory framework by demanding that its exchanges and crypto platforms provide data on its citizens' crypto trading history. Moving on to the next piece, this one right here says, Crypto meltdown prompts Yellen to call for new regulation. And scrolling down, it reads, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, responding to the recent sharp decline in value of cryptocurrencies, said Thursday that additional federal regulation was needed to respond to the wave of speculative investment in the currency, whose secrecy is an essential part of its appeal. The next one from Cointelegraph says, TZA Pax : Miles, blockchain will be taught in classrooms in 3 to 5 years. So guys, the National University of Singapore School of Computing has entered into a new partnership to teach students about Tezos and blockchain in classrooms in 3 to 5 years. Now, back to today's topic. What is this final warning regarding Ripple and XRP, and why is it so unbelievable? What is this thing that everybody's talking about? Well, take this as a cautionary note. If you're an XRP fan or ardent follower in the crypto space and would like to join a group of tens of thousands of elite crypto enthusiasts to voice your discomfort towards the unfair regulation by enforcement tactics employed by the SEC while trying to shield its unfair regulatory framework from the general public, which sadly was eventually revealed to the ardent crypto followers given the Hinman 2018 speech, then join now, sign up on this forum, and get in the fight. The link to that will be available in the description section. So, as I said, guys, the final warning has arrived. Like this one here from Twitter user Dennis Porter says, mark my words, the UST failure will be used as evidence by policymakers to regulate stablecoins to death and champion CBDCs. And then he wraps it all up with, this is not good. But I keep trying to wrap my head around that. I spent the whole night until this morning wondering how that is detrimental to the asset class. After all, haven't rug-pulled projects been intertwined with the foundation of this asset class, specifically cryptocurrencies and blockchain-related platforms? When has that ever stopped the growth of the asset class? If any, it's helped it grow at a pace beyond our wildest expectations. And in a snap, it became even clearer to me during that moment of truth, and the more it was, the more interesting it became. After doing some research, I realized that this might not be a good time for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and these other cryptocurrencies. But it sure is a good thing for Ripple and XRP. So listen to this, guys.
And it's obviously it's evolving, and there are additional things like Lightning being done on top of Bitcoin. But Bitcoin per se is mostly solving for scarcity, or rather solving for essentially having no throat to choke, decentralized. So there's no one who can be coerced in any way to empty that Bitcoin account. Well, I guess they could technically, but on an individual basis, but the system as a whole cannot.
Could Bitcoin ever hit 100K, even above $120,000? Can XRP ever exchange hands at the price of $1,000? What form is Elon talking about? What would the entire digital currency landscape in the US and other parts of the world be like when the Ripple and SEC lawsuit turned the cryptocurrency trial of the century eventually settles? Anyway, that's all I have for you today. Be sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and as always, we'll see you in the next video.